Yes, people, welcome back to another video to the talking transfers. We are talking Liam Delap to Manchester United, potentially rejecting Chelsea. Victor Gyökeres, is he getting closer to Arsenal? And could Rodrygo potentially be joining the Premier League? So let's dive into today's topics. So, Transfer News Live. The Daily Mirror Football has come out and said that Liam Delap is said to be ready to reject interest from Chelsea to sign for Manchester United this summer. My thoughts on this as a Liverpool fan, I think it's a good signing for Manchester United. And I think Liam Delap has kind of proven that he has got Premier League quality as a striker. For Ipswich Town, he has scored 12 goals, 2 assists. By the way, 11 yellow cards in 35 matches for them. In a very poor Ipswich relegation side, if he can go and get, as people like GA, 14 GA in an Ipswich side, I think he improves his numbers massively for Manchester United. He's a massive upgrade already on the players that they've got. Look, we all know Joshua Zirkzee isn't an out-and-out striker for them. And we all know Rasmus Højlund is just simply not good enough. He's been a Premier League flop. And obviously, we've known for some time that Chelsea have had interest from Liam Delap, as they know they need a striker. So it's going to be interesting to see who Chelsea potentially go to. Is it going to be a Victor Gyökeres for them this summer? Are they going to potentially try and ignite some interest into Gyökeres after potentially Liam Delap rejecting them? Now, I did see a thing that Liam Delap is a massive Manchester United fan. I think he's got 30. He also has a £30 million relegation clause. Now, Ipswich have been relegated from the Premier League. So that relegation clause of 30 million is most likely definitely going to be activated this summer. You look at the clubs that need a striker this summer: Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United. You could argue Tottenham in there. I think Man City need depth in their attack. So all the big clubs in England, you could argue even in Newcastle, try and add some depth with it. Alexander Isak. So there's 7, 8 big clubs who need to go and get a striker this summer, and I will be surprised if not, at least half of them have a strong interest or an interest in Liam Delap at Ipswich. He's an old-fashioned type of striker, in my opinion. When I watch Liam Delap, very good on the ball in terms of hold-up play, and if he can be given the chances, I think there's a real talent there. You look at his age, he's 22 years of age. You're buying for the future. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a complete straight project with Liam Delap, because we've seen this season there is qualities, there is traits in Delap's game that is proven. He's got decent numbers for a very poor Ipswich side. So this would be a very good signing for Manchester United. And for £30 million, you genuinely can't go wrong, because I genuinely believe in the next 2, 3, 4 years in the Premier League, I reckon he could genuinely be one of the best strikers in the league. He's definitely got the potential, and like I said, the traits and the qualities to be a good striker in the league. For £30 million, you genuinely can't go wrong. So yeah, is Delap going to reject Chelsea to join Manchester United? That is not all on the striking department. We're also going to be speaking about Gyökeres. Now, there was a big news around Gyökeres with Arsenal. I'm going to pull that up for you. So let me pull this up. So yeah, Gyökeres to Arsenal. I mean, that looks like it's going to be a deal that is going to be happening this summer. And my rough thoughts on that while I bring it up is, look, Arsenal need a striker. It's as simple as that. And Victor Gyökeres, 100% fills that role in. Let me find uh, so so yeah, basically the Portuguese released an article that Arsenal have actually, put a massive interest for him. Let me pull this up. So Arsenal have been told that they can sign Victor Gyökeres for 60 million, with Sporting willing to do business this summer. Gyökeres would command a contract well in excess of 200k a week to make him one of Arsenal's top earners. I think the Gyökeres business, again, it's going to come down to a player side. Whoever pays that £60 million release clause is going to go and get the player. And it's going to come down to who Gyökeres prefers. It could come down to potentially money. It could come down to an interest in terms of ambition. In my opinion, I think Man United are 100% going to have interest in him. I've seen that, obviously, with the Ruben Amorim links. So I don't think it's going to be a fully straightforward for Arsenal in terms of getting the Gyökeres deal done. But this looks like one where it's going to happen for Arsenal, that they are going to have to pay him 200k a week for 100 games, 95 goals scored. You just can't go wrong. You look at the strikers that are around, right now for Arsenal to go and get. Gyökeres for me is that one. You look at Isak, he's going to cost you 125, 30 million pounds. You're spending half of that on Victor Gyökeres. And we've all watched him in the league. We've all watched him in the Champions League. He has been electric. Pace and power. Now, I'm intrigued to see if he actually fits the Arsenal system, because I don't actually think he fully fits them to a T. Because the way Arsenal play, they don't play at counter-attacking football. They play very much per safe possession-based football, build-up play, pass, and try and give a cross into the box. They don't play that pace and power football as opposed to like a Liverpool, for example. So I'll be intrigued to see if Arsenal was to get Gyökeres done. I really would be jealous. Let me just type this up 1 second. Right, while that loads. But yeah, look, my thoughts on Gyökeres. Look, I would love him at Liverpool. You can't go wrong. You genuinely can't go wrong. You look at the strikers that are available. What's the Osherman deal going to be like? That looks like it is potentially going to be difficult. And look at the wages that you're going to have to pay him. You know what? I'm Arsenal. Go and get Delap and Gyökeres for the price of Isak. We know they have an interest in Isak. But you're getting Gyökeres and Isak for 90 million. That is unbelievable business. You got Gyökeres for the here and now for the next 3-4 years. He's only 26, and you got Liam Delap potentially even longer, and he's a very good, decent backup. Arsenal need strikers. Arsenal need attackers. We also know they have an interest in Nico Williams on the left-hand side, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens then for them. But that's not all on Arsenal, because David Ornstein has said it is going to be a massive summer for Arsenal. Now, let me pull this up for you. Now, obviously, we know, say what we like about David Ornstein. I think when it comes to Arsenal, he can somewhat be reliable. Also, Arsenal want to renew Thomas Partey's contract. Obviously, they're trying to get the Saliba contract done, but he did release a piece here. So let's share this for the
summer.
He did come out and say this.
Arsenal's recruit.
Getting a striker, of course, is another, and that is going to be what all eyes are on this summer.
Arsenal's recruitment plans are vast, and at the top of the list is a number 9. Now, there are fewer of them in the market than they would like. There's an imbalance in supply and demand, but there are some options. We've been talking for so long about Alexander Isak. Of course, Arsenal and Mikel Arteta really like him, but I don't think that's realistic for them or probably for anybody else. Let's see if Newcastle finish in the Champions League or not. Even if they don't and he's available for sale, it will be a huge price, and I don't think that is realistic. So then they look at the likes of Benjamin Sesko. They've done a lot of work on, but I do think they have some reservations around him, maybe on the price, maybe on the player. Let's see. He remains in the mix, as does Victor Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon. Huge reports from myself and others in recent months on him. He's a player their sporting director, Andrea Berta, really likes. He is possibly the best value for money option out there.
So yeah, David Ornstein basically confirming that Arsenal do have a strong interest in the striker airing role. And obviously Gyökeres could be that main guy. He said also confirming that they have also an interest in Isak. Again, it's going to be a massive price. They've also done groundwork on Sesko. But again, the price for Sesko, he's going to cost you 70 to 80 million pounds, because there's very few strikers out there that are available, and there's lots of clubs that need a striker. So the striking department this summer is going to be the one that's the most intriguing, the most heated up for Manchester United. It's going to be really, really interesting. That's all for Arsenal. Again, will Gyökeres be the man this summer? Will they go and get a Sesko like David Ornstein potentially saying that they have an interest in? Now, let's move on to interesting piece was released not long ago. That up about Rodrygo. So let's pull that up about him. Let's pull this up. Share my screen. There we go. So yeah, Rodrygo reportedly refused to play in the Clasico on the weekend and would like to leave Real Madrid. The Brazilian feels in the show of Bellingham and Mbappe. He is not also valued as being confined to his home the past few days, upset by the situation. Mark reporting, and you can't really diss Mark when it comes to Real Madrid, because they've actually been very clear and decisive in terms of their delivering about the Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it's always been correct all along. So if this is true about Rodrygo, I think he comes to the Premier League if he is to leave, because he's not going to go to Paris Saint-Germain. You look at the attackers that they're there. If he wants to be the main guy, he has to come to a Premier League club. If he comes to Arsenal, he's the main guy in the attack. He comes to Liverpool, he's the main guy in the attack for the next 10 years, with Salah will be leaving in the next 2, with Diaz, etc., and Darwin leaving. And then obviously I can see Manchester City potentially having an interest in also they have Erling Haaland up front. So I think he's to come to potentially the Premier League. The price, now if he actually really wants to leave, like the reports are saying, 60-70 million pounds, I reckon, gets this deal done, in my opinion. Now the wages is about 200 grand a week, so I think most clubs in the Premier League that would have an interest in Rodrygo, that is a viable option, and I do think they are fair wages to be given to him. And I compared Rodrygo to the Neymar saga a couple of years ago. He wants to be that main guy. Neymar was never going to be that main guy to go and win Ballon d'Ors and be the main guy in the team because of Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi, rightly so. And that's a similar situation, I believe, in terms of Rodrygo. And I think he can go up another level. You know, he starts for Arsenal off the left. He starts for Liverpool off the left. He starts for Manchester City off the left. The three big clubs that are going to be in title races next season if he is to come to the Premier League. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Rodrygo. Is he going to be coming to the Premier League next season? You know, we have seen that Liverpool and Arsenal have an interest in him. So there is a bit of background there. So it's going to be certainly interesting. People, make sure you are subscribing or smashing the likes to the channel. Liam Delap, is he rejecting Chelsea for Manchester United? Is Gyökeres going to become to Arsenal? Other options as well. Will Gyökeres become to the Premier League? And that is all on today's video. Make sure you are subscribing and smashing the likes to the channel. Take care and